Hi, Dr. Brown. So you actually brought up one of my special interests by actually, I guess I brought it up, but when we were talking about language and you mentioned that your friend said that her parents speak two languages, which is more than most people in America. And I very much agree with that sentiment because I've studied 10 different languages, but I only speak one. And as I mentioned in my note that I put with this video, I can read two, well, three, if you obviously I can read English, but I can read Spanish and French. Um, and I can hear Spanish and French pretty well to translate it. It can't be too fast, otherwise then I'll get lost. But I can hear them and understand the conversation pretty decently. I still wouldn't qualify myself as fluent um through hearing, but reading I can read pretty fluently. It's a lot slower than my English reading, obviously, but I could still read pretty fluently without having to look up too many words. Um, but I've studied 10 different languages, which because I love the history of language and how languages have evolved, and also English itself has stolen a bunch of languages, which is really fascinating. A fascinating topic too. But my husband, he is actually multilingual. He speaks Japanese and Korean and English and some Chinese and Spanish. So he's not fluent. He doesn't classify himself as fluent in anything but English, even though he grew up speaking Korean. Because he doesn't have anybody to practice with now, he's kind of lost it. But when he works in kitchens, because that's his career, he works as a chef. He often is working with people who don't speak English as their first language. So he takes it upon himself to speak in their language or at least learn their language so he can hear it, and he'll try and teach them English if they're interested, but he never forces them. But he does his best to learn the language because he feels it's his job, which is definitely a different mindset than most Americans. Um, but yeah, it's just a fascinating topic and I love talking about languages so much. But because of him, I've actually learned some Korean and Japanese because I'll hear it and I can recognize a lot of words now. And he actually had a Korean friend come over and they were speaking in Korean together, and I was able to follow the flow of some of the language uh, in the conversation that they had, just because of how much TV we've watched that is in Korean and Japanese. So yeah, it was really fun. It's languages are fascinating, and it's definitely something that a lot of people judge in our society that they really shouldn't, because if they ever bothered to learn or even attempted to learn, another language beyond just a basic requirement for school, because I know most high schools still require you to do 2 years of a foreign language. I think if more people studied different ones, we'd probably have a lot more respect for cultures in our society. But yeah, that's one of my special interests is languages and their history and some of my experience with them. So I wanted to share since we were on the topic. Anyway, thank you. Bye.